Welcome back, everyone, to Planescape Torment. You're here with me, Lefebvre, otherwise known as DraxxKraven, when we recruited Ignus. What's going on, Burning Man? Oh, jeez. Ignus, what happened to make you this way? This way? A small pocket of flesh on Ignus's cheek pops and runs in a streaming trickle down his jaw. This way Ignus always was. But you look human, or at least you look like you were human once. Ignus twists, hunching his head forward as his body spins slowly above the ground. The effect is much like a fiery whirlwind, thermals streaming off his body and distorting the air around him. Still, Ignus. Always Ignus. Never mind, I had some other question. As you open your mouth to speak, Ignus suddenly whirls on you, and you're forced to choke back your words as the heat from his frame floods over you. Ignus, might you be sparks in bodies, always seeking to rise? Sparks in bodies? What do you mean? All things burn inside. Ignus's head cranes back and throws his arms wide, spirals of flame and heat traveling up his arms. Only need to be kindled with flames to become Ignus. So might you have been Ignus? Actually, if you end up trying to kindle the flames within people, you usually end up killing them. Yes. Ignus grins, cocking his head to one side, ashes falling from his skull and being swept up in the flaming wreath that surrounds him. No more talk and questions. Silence! But I wish to speak of flames, Ignus, and of burning. Your words are like oil, and you watch them fill Ignus's eyes, fanning the flames you see there. Flames, speak. Ignus will listen. So yeah, you have to pass a check just to be able to talk to this guy. Keep talking to him anyway. Is it true you burned down the alley of dangerous angles? Yes. A dream shall Ignus share. Maybe later. For now, I wish to speak more of... A torrent of flames pours from Ignus, and you take a step back, the air bending from the heat. Streets at night, so cold. Ignus burned the buildings, the dwellers, all ran from Ignus. The flames and the buildings were as flames, screams as the dwellers became torches. Listen quietly, wait for his ranting to die. Buildings as skeletons, angles, bodies as skeletons, reds and oranges and blacks, the flames spreading, caressing such lights. Listen quietly, wait for his ranting to die. Ignus's fury dies, the wreaths of flame surrounding him ebbing somewhat. He seems to be lost in thought, perhaps lost in memory. Ignus was pleased. I wish to speak more of burning and of flames. What were you doing in the smoldering corpse bar? For a moment, you don't think Ignus has heard you, when suddenly the fire in his eyes dims slightly, and he gives a soft hiss, cinders and ash drawing at the edges of his jaws. Ignus once knew nothing of flames. Once, Ignus knew nothing of flames. He set small fires, tiny flames, little flickerings, small bits. Ignus hisses again, ashes and fiery motes drifting from the ruin of his mouth. Fires grew. Ignus set fires in the streets and lit the fires of anger in their hearts. Yes. You speak, but Ignus doesn't seem to hear you. He seems to be somewhere else, as if reliving a memory through his words. Against your will, you stop and listen. They sought to punish Ignus. The small flies from the hive, they wished to see Ignus burn. After Ignus set fire to their streets, tiny magelings, hedge wizards, and rune casters, tiny sparks of magic came to punish Ignus for hurting their loved ones. They sentenced Ignus to burn, made Ignus a torch, a spitting flame, burning, burning. Justice, they called it. Justice. You watch, mesmerized, as Ignus begins slowly turning again, as he did above the grill and the smoldering corpse. But it was not a sentence. There is so much flames and pain that there is no pain. There is light and heat, and the flesh runs as tallow across my bones. And for the first time, Ignus is Ignus stops his rotation, and his gaze falls upon you. As it does, the fire in his eyes flare, and a charred grin splits his features, the flesh crackling and bubbling as it melts and streams across his face. Ignus wears the face of all hells, of flames, and his next words are spoken like a death sentence, not for you, but for everyone, everywhere. When the plains burn, and all life is torches, then Ignus shall at last be at peace. I wish to speak more of flames and of burning. Ignus, your mastery of the art, can you teach me any of your power? Ignus once knew much, no longer. Ignus burns. In suffering, Ignus learns. A tiny flame gusts from his mouth like laughter, and a stream of embers spits forth. Suffer and learn. I am willing to suffer for this knowledge. As you're about to speak the words, you feel a crawling sensation in the back of your skull, and are suddenly struck with the certainty and that the knowledge Ignus has to teach may permanently scar you. But you don't know how you know this. Repeat. I am willing to suffer for this knowledge. Suffer! Flames flick eagerly along the edges of Ignus's mouth, spiraling up along the melted ruin of his face. Burn. Pieces of self are burned away. Ignus may still teach much. Teach me some of your art. Where flames once burned, one may send them again. Before you can react, Ignus's claw lashes out and clutches your finger, and with a greedy hiss, he burns it, and through the searing pain, you close your eyes and scream. Max HP -1. You force your eyes open to see the burning mass of your hand from where Ignus touched it. He floats above, uncaring, cradling your finger, then snaps the tip off, leaving just the base. He hisses, cinders and ash drifting from his mouth, and he flicks the charred remains of your finger back at you. What did you do?
Updated my journal.
Teachings. To learn, one must suffer. Teach me more. Clutches your left hand, and with a mad cackle and a greedy hiss, he burns it, and through the searing pain, you close your eyes and scream. You force your eyes open to see the burning mass of your hand from where Ignus touched it. Only a blackened stump remains, twitching, blood steaming from it. Ignus seems oblivious to your pain. His attention is devoted to your severed hand, which he is holding, admiring like a trophy. Ignus, give me my hand back. Ignus ignores you. You watch as the flames from his hands encircle your severed hand like a wreath, slowly burning the last remains of flesh from it, like a sculptor, until only the fused bone remains. He gives a long, low hiss, and then flings his creation back to you. You manage to catch it, and your remaining hand. You notice the flesh of your severed hand is reknitting itself, slowly, painfully, regrowing. What did you do?
Updated my journal.
Teaching. To learn, one must suffer. Teach me more. No more. Pieces of self are burned away, yet no more of sharing what Ignus teach. You need pieces of me. What about my intestines? Ignus cocks his head as you hold up your intestines, then he suddenly swoops in and snatches it from your grasp. Holding it, he strings it between two hands like a rope, and hisses to himself. You watch the intestines steam as he holds them, turning black, and you feel a slow, burning pain in your abdomen. Ignus strings out the intestines, hand span by hand span, and he lets each length fall from his grasp. It starts rotating around like a spiral, snaking in a slow pattern, each portion being roasted by his flames. There seems to be some dancing pattern to the way the flames are touching the strip of intestines, slowly blackening them until it looks like a long string of charred meat. The burning in your abdomen makes you wince, but it's nothing compared to the pain you felt when Ignus charred the other portions of your body. You watch your burning guts spiral in Ignus's flame. Then suddenly they gutter out, and they fall into his hands. He gives a hiss and throws them to you. Much powers in an immortal's organs.
Updated my journal.
Take the charred intestines. I am willing to suffer for more knowledge. What about my eye? Ignus lashes out again, his finger like a spear, but he doesn't strike for the eye that you can remove. Instead, he impales your other eye. There is no pain for a moment, only surprise. Then the screaming starts. As Ignus lets loose a stream of flames into the open socket, they seem to eat into your skull. The hiss of burning flesh fills your nostrils and smoke clouds your vision. You force your eyes open through your bloodied vision, yet only one eye opens. You can barely make out. Ignus hovering in the air in front of you, his hands cupping a small orb of flame in his hands, your eye seemingly untouched by the heat. As you watch, his hands cover the eye, and you feel a second burning pain in your eye socket. And suddenly, even through the searing pain, you can see correctly again. Ignus opens his hand, and within it, you can see the ruined mass of eyeball, barely recognizable, yet your eye is still in its socket. He cackles, and with a breath of flame, the eyeball rises from his grasp, drifts over to you like a flake of ash in the air. Take the eyeball.
Updated my journal.
Your eyeball. No, I'm out of pieces. Let's learn these spells first. No, speak. Speak of flames. Speak of burning. Have you ever felt a building of flame? Licking the edges of timber, blackening the wood beneath, watching the heat peel the paint from the walls, thatch crackling, burning straw. Ignus's charm. Ignus's innards. Ignus's hand. Ignus's eye. He still carries nothing. Nothing happened last time. Maybe something will this time. But there's one more thing I want to talk to Ignus about.
Yes.
A storyteller in the hive mentioned that someone taught you these things. Who? Of learnings and teachings? You know. Gouts of flame erupt from Ignus's mouth in a horrid semblance of laughter. You have always taught Ignus. Ignus, master, you were. Me? Are you sure?
Updated my journal.
Ignus's voice drops, and the crackling of flames dies. Yes, it is the only reason Ignus obeys. Flames rise around him in a crackling spiral, till death comes for us both. Your words to me, to your student, Ignus. Ignus has not forgotten, Master. Ignus, if I was your master, can you remember anything about me? Ignus hisses, and for a moment his features flicker. At first you think it's the flames, but it's not. It's the flickering of memory. Surrender to the memory. The crackling of Ignus's flame subsides, lessening as the charred bones of Ignus's body fold up, twisting into itself until his limbs lie motionless, becoming a stack of wood within a huge iron fireplace. You're staring into it, burning brightly within a vaulted room. The fire crackles and spits embers onto the stone floor, motes rising from the fireplace. Faintly from the darkness behind you, you can hear the rasp of someone breathing. I can hear you. Step into the light. There is the shuffling of sandals, and a frail youth steps into the edges of the firelight. His wide black eyes catch the flames and mirror them. He's nervous. You can hear his muscles shaking, his voice trembling, just enough to increase your irritation. Forgive my intrusion, Master. You have already intruded, supplicant. You did so with intention. I will hear it now, then you will leave me to my thoughts. The boy takes a deep breath and glances at the fire. Master, I dreamed of flames again last night. They felt real, and you said that we were to come to you if it was a dream, nothing more. Now leave. The boy does not move. His brows draw together, and slowly he displays his hands. The flesh around the fingers blackened, burned. How did your hands come to be burned, supplicant? I awoke and my hands were as ash. The boy meets your gaze. He is still trembling, faintly, but there is an eagerness in his voice which angers you. I dreamed. I soared above the earth and the ground, and sky were as fire. The world itself was so bright that it hurt to look at, Master. And when I awoke, my hands, they were burned, as if I had held a flame within them. You lie, supplicant. You have come to me with a story, and now you are in danger of angering me. No, Master. No, upon my life I do not. You burned yourself with a candle, supplicant, or thrust your hands within one of the pyres in the vault of currents. Now you come to me and tell me a dream burned you. I tire of your lies. The boy falls silent, and to your surprise, his face clenches in anger. No, I did not lie. It was the dream that burned me. Master, as you said it might if we felt the power stirring. They were your words, and I came to repeat them to you, tell you that they were true. Look. Grab his hands. Before the boy can react, your hand, huge in comparison, lashes out, crushing his burned hand in its grip, and the boy screams, echoing in the vault. With a snarl, you hurl him into the ground in front of the fireplace, and there's a sharp crack as his knees strike the flagstones. Look into those flames, supplicant. Raise your head and look. The boy is shuddering from the pain from his knees. You watch tears blur his eyes as he raises his head to look into the fireplace. The flames cast his face in a red, gaunt glow. Is that what you wish to hold, supplicant? Is the shaping of flames what stirs your heart? Know that flames can burn, and if you would learn their power, you must suffer their touch. The boy is silent, staring into them. He seems mesmerized, his tears having dried in the heat, and the shaking is gone. The flames are his focus. He's not listening to you, and the full fury washes over. Is that what consumes you? Enough for you to intrude upon my meditations? Then I shall teach you the shaping of flame, supplicant. Your hand lashes out and clamps onto the boy's wrist. He howls as you drag him closer to the fireplace, then thrust his hands into the coals. There is a crackling, a hissing of burning flesh, and his screams, such terrible, and yet, to learn you must suffer, supplicant. You must allow yourself to be burned by the power of that which you wield. Know its torment, and you shall know how to use it against your enemies.
Updated my journal.
Master, Ignus has not forgotten your teaching.